In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your starter on your Mercedes-Benz C300. It's located underneath the vehicle. Before we disconnect anything on the exhaust, we're going to disconnect our O2 sensor connectors. There's one here, and there's one here. So let's do that first. Push in on the tab, pull it out. I'm just going to pull this down, make it easier. Disconnect that. And now we're going to unclip it from various places along the transmission. When we drop this exhaust, you're going to be very careful. You're not going to hit your O2 sensors. You can damage them that way. If you feel like you're going to damage your O2 sensors by knocking it into something, you want to take those out first. We aren't going to. I'm going to remove my harnesses from under the transmission lines so that there's no interference when I take the exhaust down. Now we're going to support our exhaust with a pole jack. If you're on the ground, you're going to want to do that with something like a jack stand. To remove the starter in this vehicle, you have to drop your exhaust. So we're going to focus on this side only. I'm going to show you over here that this is the kind of exhaust clamp. Ours we had to cut off because the bolt looked like this. So I cut ours off and replaced it with a different bolt. If yours is rusty like ours, you're going to have to do the same. So now we're going to disconnect it. If you're disconnecting it with the original hardware, it's an E11 socket you're going to need for the head of the bolt, which is an inverted Torx bit socket. So now I'm just going to remove this. I'm going to push my clamp forward, and then I'm going to undo the flange in the front near the starter, and then we'll be able to separate this. We're going to undo our flange bolts. To do that, I'm using a swivel 13 and an extension with my impact gun. I'm going to go for this one on the bottom first. I did spray it with penetrating oil. Move that bolt. I'm using the same setup as the other one. Now we're going to remove our exhaust. Let's make sure it moves on the other end. It's not stuck in there. Just going to lower my pole jack. Again, be careful of your O2 sensors. You are going to have to get it past the steering column. I'm going to rest my pipe on the ground. Just make sure your harnesses aren't wrapped around your steering column. Knuckle, and I'm going to just take this right out. Using a 10mm socket, we're going to loosen up this wire and take it off the solder. Remove your nut and wire, and now we're going to remove this one up here. I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver and pop off this plastic cap so we can access the nut underneath. Using a 13mm socket, we're going to take off the nut above the one we just took off. Remove the nut and the wire. Now we're going to take off the 2 bolts that are holding the starter to the transmission. I'm going to use an E14 inverted Torx socket, and we're going to take out this bolt and this bolt. And then remove them both. Now that I've cracked it loose, I'm going to go with my battery-operated ratchet. Remove the starter and let it just sit there for a sec. I'm going to move some stuff out of the way and get the starter out. You got to get it past your steering and the exhaust, and then you got to take it out like that. We're going to transfer over our clip here. Just slide it off using a flathead screwdriver and slide it on. Make sure you remove your hardware before installing. And now we're going to install. We're going to put it in there. I would stay to the left of the steering and then turn the starter in towards the engine. Once you get it past the steering, then you can swivel it towards the transmission and turn it so it lines up. Make sure you're lined up before inserting any bolts. You can get your bolt started if you can. I'm doing the top one first. Might have to wiggle things around to get the bolt to start. Don't tighten any of the bolts yet until you get them both started. I'm going to get mine started by hand. Make sure they're threaded in there right. And then I'm going to use my battery operated ratchet to finish the job. Keep your starter flush and tighten them all the way. Torque this to 30 foot-pounds. Do the same to the top one. And now we're going to put our wires on our starter. Let's put our wires on. I'm going to go with the big one first. Put your nut on. Let's tighten that up. Let's tighten that down. You want to go a little bit more than wrist tight. All right, so once it's snug, you want to really tighten it down. And now we're going to do the other wire. Now you're going to put your wire on the bottom one. Make sure it's between those two posts. And start your nut. Now you want to install the little plastic cap that goes over the nut. That's important you do that so you don't short out anything. Make sure you put your wiring harness back through your transmission lines. Get that out of the way for installing your exhaust pipe. You can just leave it over there for now. Now we're going to put our exhaust pipe in. All right, once you're in there, you're going to want to use your pull jack again. We're going to do the back end first with the exhaust clamp. I have a bungee cord on the other end, just holding that steady. I'm going to put our clamp back. I replaced my bolt and spacers. If you have the original, put that on. Now we're going to do the front. You want to hold your flange up and get your bolt in. I'm doing my back one first, one closest to the engine. But do whatever one's easier for you. I am holding up my exhaust pipe with a piece of wood temporarily. I've also cleaned off my bolts so they're easier to go in. Now we're going to put our other bolt in. Once you got it started, use a ratchet to help it continue to go in. It's really hard to get your hand in there otherwise. And you're going to go to the other one and you're going to tighten that one up a little bit, and you're just going to keep going back and forth until both bolts bottom out and snug them up. Okay, let's take our wood out so we can get our ratchet in there. Tighten them both down. Now you can take your pull jack away if you used one. Now we're going to put our wires back in the little holders. There's one on the starter for the O2 sensor. And it feeds under here. And this one goes in this clip. Basically, it just, you can tell where they go, so just connect them. Connect your connectors. Make sure you hear that click. And slide it into the holder. Do the same with this one. Make sure you hear the click. And you're going to slide it where this crease is into this holder.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.